Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I wished I would have sent this to Frosty Woldridge back in Golden, Colorado. Matter of fact, I think I still will. How to prepare tofu. Number 1, throw it in the trash. Number 2, go grill some meat. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a Patriot. Come on, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Be proud. Want to hear from you. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for no matter what the road throws at you, you'll be prepared. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jerry, thank you so much, and the very best right back at you this morning. Thank you, sir.
And may the Lord bless you and your whole audience. Have a great day.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Right now, we're going to go to the weather forecast, and we're going to see. Yesterday, Scotty was saying something about, well, we might get a little snow and a little cold, a little chilly. Let's take a look in a minute. Right now, K&R Rental brings you the weather at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Absolutely the best of tools and equipment for rental from these good folks, Roger and the crew. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you. Don't forget whatever you need. And if you're not sure what you do need, just give them a call. Talk to them. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Right now, here's the weather.
We're going to see some sunshine for the next couple of days, but be prepared for precipitation as we hit the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 39, slightly breezy winds out of the east, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 44. Clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday night, bringing along with it a chance of rain and or snow showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 32. By Saturday, rain showers are likely, about a 70% chance. We are expecting a high of 47. Winds out of the south-southeast right around 10 miles an hour. For Sunday, more rain and snow is in the forecast. Mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 44. And by Monday, rain and snow showers expected for the morning hours. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 39. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a great job. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you to kick things off this morning by K&R Rental. Hello. They open the doors at 7 a.m. to serve you with the best of tools and equipment for whatever you need. I'm telling you, you better get a hold of them today. 678-3122 on the Burley-Paul Highway. K&R Rental. Right now, Merv May, come on in here. Let's sell some cattle.
All right. a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 30.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer. Talked to him earlier this morning, too. Merv May over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The sale that works for you. Sale time today at 10 a.m. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy working for you at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And here's a little bit of a partial list of what's going through the ring today. Lee Matthews over to Raft River bringing in 80 head of calves. Jed Heaton up at Clear Creek bringing in 220 ripping good calves. Chuck Turner of Gooding. Hey, how's everybody over in the Gooding country? 27 head of calves. Matthews Ranch over to Grace, Idaho, 30 head of calves. We're going to have butcher cows from P-Bar S Dairy bringing in about 50 head. And, of course, Ward Dairy's bringing in 50 head. And more butcher cows coming in from Antelope Hills Dairy, Acme, and Funk Dairies. And I told you the starting time's going to be at 10 a.m. this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale day today at 10 a.m. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and $7.35. Zeb Mel gets bottom again.
I wished I could do that auctioneer's chant like he does. Wow, he is good. He is good. Want to remind you the Mini-Cassia Republican Lincoln Day luncheon and banquet is coming up, and it's going to be on Saturday, February 23rd, and that's at Maury's Steakhouse in North Burley. Don't forget, it begins at 12 noon. Begins at 12 noon. That's one word, Zeb. And it's $25 per plate, and you can purchase tickets from Minidoka County Chairman Jeff McEwen and, of course, Doug Pickett, Cassia County Chairman, and others. And there's going to be an auction after the luncheon, and they will have a lot of legislators there. Speaker Scott Bedke, Representative Fred Wood, Senator Kelly Anthon, and more. Don't forget that coming up on Saturday, February 23rd. Want to also say a big shout out and thank you to our friends at Denny's Restaurant. Hello, Denny's. Thomas and the crew. I've got a brand new menu right here, and I'm looking at it, and holy cow, I mean, the breakfasts and the lunches and the dinners and the sandwiches and the desserts and everything else, absolutely phenomenal, and I know because I've tasted a lot of it. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. They are America's Diner and also the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Don't forget that, Denny's Restaurant. Caller, I'll be there in a moment. Stand by. I also want to remind everybody about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they do so much for you. That's right. Ramsey Heating and Electric, of course, for all your heating and electrical needs. And they've been in business for well over 60 years. Wow. 60 years. And growing bigger every day and doing more for everybody. They open the doors at 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Zeb. You know, think about that border thing. I've been thinking a lot on it. You have senators and congressmen on both sides of the aisle who are involved with big businesses who want cheap labor for high profits.
Yep.
And I think this is one of the major causes of the problem we're having.
Oh, I totally agree. There are many, many industries and businesses that want you and I, the taxpayers, to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to bringing in these people and having them reside here illegally. And when I get back from a little respite, we're going to start blowing the lid off that can of peas, let me tell you.
Oh, I'll tell you, I think that's really what's behind it. A certain amount of corruption on both sides of the aisle.
But then on the other side of the story, Tony, it's not even funny. that Nancy Pelosi and some of the absolutely mind-dead Democrats saying that there will be an offer, but we will not offer $1 for wall funding. Look, listen to the experts. Listen to the people that put their lives on the line. Listen to the Border Patrol. Listen to these people about what's needed and necessary to maintain any sense of border security, and the Democrats should shut up and go sit down in the corner and just do a yes sir and no sir and fund the wall.
Well, this has become a personal thing with Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, yeah.
She has so much hatred for Donald Trump. She doesn't care what she does to the rest of the country as long as she gets her revenge against Donald Trump.
No, she can't stand him, and she's got an entourage with little Chucky the Clown Schumer and the rest of them that are absolutely hateful people. And I just absolutely don't think this thing's going to go anywhere as far as getting anything done the next 2 years. And the Democrats, I honestly believe, are shooting themselves in the foot, because come closer to 2020, the public, I think, is still smart enough to say, what did you do for us the last 4 years?
That's right. I think Donald's got another 4 years coming up after this, and I'm confident of that.
Well, Tony, I always look forward to hearing from you. A great way to start the day. God bless you, man. Thank you much.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to brace myself here a little bit, because I'm going to be getting into a story that I talked about on Monday, and I heard more about it last night on the news and again this morning early at 4 o'clock. And needless to say, it just tears my heart out. I'll be right back. Want to remind you, and Deanne, could I have you step in here for a minute? I've lost all my batteries. I can't find them. Anyway, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Don't forget 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick and the entire outfit over there, serving you and taking care of your aches, your pains, and your surgeries and your muscles. They know all the exercises. And, of course, they can help you. They've got that hydrotherapy pool. They've got it all for you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Lots of people, lots of farmers and ranchers had surgery this winter to get ready for this warmer weather. Stop in, give them a call, 678-1191. And that's, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to take another quick moment for a commercial, because I'm not going to have a lot of time once I start this other story, to where I'm going to be directing my activity back to some spots. I want to remind everybody about our friends at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis, Lorena, everybody over there. Nice people. Went in there and visited, found out all about their business, found out all about the home theater systems, found out all about the complete sound systems, all the TVs by Samsung, Sony, and Toshiba. Holy smoke, Hughes Internet. Well, I can't imagine why anybody would say, where do I go? Well, I'm telling you. Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley, and they're open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6. They're waiting to serve you. Patterson's on East Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Thank you, Deanne. I appreciate that very much. Ladies and gentlemen, last night on the news, Deanne and I were sitting out in our lazy boys, and we were, I was taking notes on all the news that I was going to discuss this morning on my program. And I turned it on at exactly the same time that the governor, if you want to call him that, I've got a lot of other names I'd like to use for him this morning. The governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, was being interviewed and showed portions of an interview that he did on a radio program in regards to full-term abortion. The baby is being born. The baby is being born. And this governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, and this is where I just can't understand his Hippocratic oath going into the trash. He's a doctor. And he spelled it out so succinctly yesterday that it absolutely made me cringe. He talked about how the birth of the baby is complete. The mother is laying there in the bed. They take the full-term baby, healthy baby, lay it on a gurney, and he said they make the baby as comfortable as possible, and then the doctor and the mother sit down and decide whether the baby is going to be killed or not. Terminated. I have never in my life thought that America could go this low. No, not us. We are first to criticize the Asian countries, China, etc., for human rights violations and wrongs to humanity. And then right here in this country, we've got Democrats that are advocating these bills in 8 states and D.C. What is the matter with us? Honestly, folks, you might have relatives in some of those states. This is absolutely insane. It is so ugly and so grotesque. We've lost our souls. And I dare someone in the audience to call and be an advocate of this heinous Frankenstein-type activity. This governor is a doctor? What about, like I mentioned a moment ago, the Hippocratic Oath to try to save all lives? But here is this healthy little baby laying on a gurney, and it's not worthy of saving. They, the doctor and the mother, they make the decision, do you want to let it die or live? That's not their decision. That's murder. That's infanticide. These babies are being treated as expendable and that they don't matter. And they're thrown literally in the trash. This just makes my eyes swell up with tears and my fists are clenched. I just can't. I want to do something to change this. And in most cases, most of these are healthy babies, human beings. And they're killing them. They're killing them. And there is a push on the left right now to accept and adopt this principle, this law, across the map. You know, just for a second, if you're sitting at the coffee table or if you're sitting in the living room and you've got pictures of your family up on the wall, your sons, your daughters, your grandkids, look at those pictures. Look at those smiling faces. Maybe little Susie's holding a pet bunny rabbit. Maybe little Johnny's on his first pony ride, whatever the case might be. And think about the cold and shallow and inhumane treatment of these babies that are born full term, laid on a table, and then a decision is made, oh, we're going to kill them or let them live. You know, I criticized at the beginning of the week the clergy. And one member of the clergy sent me back an email. One. Saying that he agreed with me. And again, I call on the clergy. Where are you? Where are you? You have got more material. You have got more information. You have got more to provide the community, your congregate members right now to do good in the world and stop this insidious inhumanity. But will you? Or are you going to go ahead and give these old, bland, come see, come saw sermons? You've got all the firepower in the world to help stop this. And I wonder how many of you will. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It's just unbelievable what's happened in the society in our generation. And I'll tell you, the whole thing is such that, you know, if you look at history, you find that you will find civilizations unlike ours. I mean, we think we're so progressive and everything in so many ways, but when you get to the point where you worship the gods of good things that bring so-called happiness in your life, and the absence of children is part of that. And but right now we have the Democrats worshiping literally their quest to redistribute the wealth, to worship false gods of the world, and a lot of them, I swear, have to be Satanists. They're evil.
Well, okay, let me jump in. Adrian, I want to jump in on the conversation with you a little bit. Number one, I don't know why this governor, and I don't know why these so-called practitioners that are doing and providing these abortions are not arrested for murder. This is murder. This is infanticide. They're taking a healthy baby, laying it, just a minute. They're laying this healthy baby on a table, and then they're making the decision like they're Solomon or someone that can say this baby lives and dies. This is absolute murder.
Oh, it is absolute murder. In fact, this is, you know, when the Ten Commandments, we always hear that thou shalt not kill. Well, if you're a soldier, that's self-defense, and you're serving your country to protect it. But what the original Ten Commandments said was, thou shalt not murder. And this is just flat-out murder. And they're worshiping all of these gods. And like Islam's one of 360 different gods that they were worshiping. They just picked out Allah as one of those.
All right. I don't want to get off the road. I'm going to be talking about Muslims and Islam in a little bit. Let's not get off the rails here a little bit. Let's stay right with this issue.
Well, the whole problem is we have gotten a society that's gotten so far away from our worship of Jesus Christ as the Lord of the land.
I agree.
Who, you know, and the fact that our families are precious. We all know people that have lost loved ones that have died at a very early age due to leukemia or other kinds of problems, you know, and I mean, it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
People that haven't been able to move on past that.
I've got to interrupt you here because I've got another call waiting. And Adrian, you were the one that you and I were talking. Hang on a minute. You and I were talking about this when you came over to my house the other night, and I absolutely agree with everything you say. I am going to go after this governor in every way I can to let him know that I think he's nothing more than an aid and abettor to murder. Thank you. I got to get this other call in, Adrian. Thank you so much.
Well, anyway, the bottom line is we need, as Christians, to stand up, and more of us need to stand up and take us. We have too many just sitting on the sidelines.
Amen.
Standing up for our Christian values. And have a great day.
I couldn't have said it better. I appreciate that. We got to stand up and do something. Caller, I'll be right there. I've got to remind everybody about our dear friends over at Dino Septic Service. Oh, my goodness sakes, these people are good. And they do the job that you and I don't want to do. You don't want to be standing out there pumping a septic system, and you don't want to have all the headaches and the hassles of trying to get that done. You want to talk to the professionals that can come over and pump the septic tanks, and they can provide liquid waste removal, and the septic tank and drain fields installed and cleaned. Everything from Dino's Septic Service. They are the best at what they do. That's not brag. That's a fact. Don't forget to give them a call at 436-6526 or 678-1638. With a big smile on their face, driving in the yard with that truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Wheels, are they there?
I'm here. Can't you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. They finally turned you up. Go ahead, sir.
It's unbelievable that they don't have somebody like Mueller investigating the people that put these things together for conspiracy to murder. It's just insane. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
People. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I agree with your point there about why isn't there more of a public outcry? Why aren't there more people saying, well, we got to go after this governor and we've got to go after any of these lawmakers that are absolutely espousing murder and infanticide and lock them up in a dungeon, give them bread and water till they expire. This is an absolute disrespect of God's creation, human life.
Well, these are the same people that back not having the death penalty for the people that murder other people and commit atrocities against families and stuff. There's no logic or reason to it whatsoever.
Let me ask you this. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm in my mid-50s.
All right. You're not that far behind me. I don't think you're going to catch up, but you're not that far behind me. Don't you see kind of a creation of a hemlock society in this country to the point where it starts off with the newborns. It starts off with abortion. It starts off with full term. Let them lay on a table and make a decision whether they can live or die. Then, on the other end of the spectrum in a hemlock society, you're looking at the elderly. Oh, well, they're past their prime and they're taking too much of our time and money and resources. Let's get rid of them. Do you see the same thing happening?
I do, and it's just only a matter of time that they come after you and me for our Christian values also.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going down without a fight, and I'm going to keep hammering at these absolutely evil people, and that's what they are, evil people. Sir, I want to wish you a very good day, and I always thank you for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeb. I'll stand beside you with my gun and my fist. We'll fight them till it's over.
I'll need both of them. Thank you very much. I appreciate them. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental. Boy, these folks are nice, and they're good, too. They've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. Hello, Juan. And, of course, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the Nampa location. They had a wonderful year last year, 2018, and Berry Equipment and Rental, they say, hey, wait a minute. Come on in. We want to thank you. We've got some great, great specials for you, like all the Bobcats offering financing at 0% interest for 60 months. 60. Wow. Check it out today. All the equipment rentals, all the retail equipment sales at Berry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Ted. You know where I stand on this. The other thing I don't understand is why would the news media put something like this on the air for people to hear and not condemn it themselves as they put it on. I cannot understand that at all. They're accomplice to murder as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I agree with you, Jerry, but honestly, look back 20 years in Wheels. You've got to cut back on the feedback a little bit, please. Look back 20 years, Jerry. This story would have never even been around. There wouldn't have been such a heinous activity going on. There wouldn't have been doctors talking about full-term abortion on the table with healthy babies. This is nothing more than murder.
10 years ago, we had a presidential candidate that talked about this. And people listened to it, and some of the people agreed with it. I'm one that never has, I never will. And I'm never going to in any way. I just absolutely think it's criminal.
Well,
I can't understand how come our law enforcement and our people that enforce our laws aren't going after these guys with a passion.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Me at all.
I've never seen...
Stand up and put it before the public over the news is just crazy.
Yeah. Jerry, thank you very much for your call, as always. God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you.
You bet. You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless.
I hope he does. I hope he does. Now, my daughter was over here last night giving us a little help on some things that we needed done. And I looked at her and I thought, wow, what a beautiful young mom with some great, great sons in the perpetuation of our family. And then I thought, after I heard this story last night about, you're going to have to pardon me, I get a little emotional about this. We almost lost my daughter at birth. And I still think back, and we were so blessed that everything came out okay. Everything was all right. But it was a little touch and go for a while. And then when I heard this governor, and you can be offended by this if you want to, I just wanted to smash his teeth in, say how they do this with little babies and lay them on this table. Oh, yeah, well, we try to make them comfortable. We leave them lay there, and then the doctor and the mother will get together and decide, well, should we kill him or not? And I thought about the birth experience with my daughter, and it drove me to tears. How blessed I am everything came out okay. I will never, on this program, as long as this program's on the air, as long as I pay to have this program on the air, I will never allow this kind of absolute evil to be a part of the Magic Valley or anywhere else without attacking it, going after it. You know I hate Planned Parenthood. You know I hate everything about what they stand for. Evil and killing. Killing. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And again, I'm going to go back, and you're sick and tired of having me throw salt in the wound, but I don't care. Ministers, clergy, you have got a responsibility right now to help society, our communities, everything, with your voice behind the pulpit. Get up there and tell the rights and the wrongs of these situations, and tell people what's going on in our Satan-filled world, evil world. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. And they take care of all the animals. A great place to take your pets and all your animals when there's a health problem. Absolutely. They want to make sure that your animals are healthy. Whether you got one little kitty cat or dog or you got a whole bunch of dairy cattle, they care and they will help you. Ark Animal Hospital with Dr. Bill and the crew, 750 21st Street in Hayburn. And remember the number to call, 678-1177, and it's true. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses at Ark Animal Hospital. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. I am so disgusted with the way that these governors and city officials think that they can sign into law to be a part of taking one of God's most beautiful blessings and destroying it. I want to just slap them silly.
Oh, Donna, everybody, I get these emails and these telephone calls. Oh, you're a right-wing radical and everything else. You know what? I don't care who hears this or if they're offended. I said a moment ago I'd like to take that governor, Northam, put him in a dark dungeon, put him in chains, feed him bread and water until he expires, because this sickness, this evil of these people, and he calls himself a doctor. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there was a thing on Facebook this morning from a OBGYN. He's been in practice for, 30-some years, and he used to do abortions. And he explained and got really graphic, showed the tools, showed what happened, and he and his wife had adopted a young baby, and lost her when she was, I think he said she was 4 years old in a car accident. Right after that, he had to go in and do an abortion. He did it. He actually, pardon my expression, vomited. And he said, I never, ever have done another one. It is wrong, it is cruel, and it is murder.
Well, Donna, here's a baby. I can't get this picture out of my mind. You're going to have to help me on this a little bit. The baby is born, okay? They take the baby away from the mother, and they lay it on a gurney, and they push it away into another room or the hallway. Then the doctor and the mother sit down and they go, well, should we let him live or let him die? They do not have that right. This is plain murder, Donna.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree. You know, we just had our first great-grandson, and he was born with his heart backwards.
Oh, my.
He just went through, he's just a month old today, and he just went through his first of 3 heart surgeries. Now, the doctor told our granddaughter that because of the problems that he's going to have, she could opt to terminate the pregnancy if she so desired. And, you know, she might be different. She might be a little bit kooky sometimes, but I'm so proud of her because she said absolutely not.
Well, where do you draw the line, Donna? Where are they going to draw the line? Are they going to say, well, we think your baby is going to be a Down syndrome baby. Oh, let's kill it. Oh, we think your baby might have a club foot. Let's kill it. Oh, we think this person's going to have a deformity in their left arm. Let's kill it. I mean, where do you draw the line? This is absolutely a growing cancer in our society.
You know, it really is, Zeb. And to be really honest, aren't the leftists, aren't these guys supposed to be fighting for babies and fighting for moms and fighting for women's rights? Why are they going along with this atrocious, disgusting procedure?
Well, you know, we're told that we're supposed to turn the other cheek. And I'm going to just reiterate what a friend told me a long time ago. I only have 2 cheeks. I turned one this way. I turned one the other way. Now I'm finished. You're on your own. If you keep doing this filth and this evil, I'm coming after you.
I totally agree. You know, like I said earlier, you know, children are God's gift to you, and you have to deserve that gift. Don't murder it.
Well, I just would like to know, the people like this Northam, this governor of Virginia, they are protected species, if you will, because they can hide behind all their security. They can hide behind their governor mansion and their walls, etc., and they are not really accessible to any great degree by the public. I would like to break that security. I would like to get a hold of this guy, get him by the short end of the necktie, and just absolutely turn him into a human thermometer until he turns red, and let him know in no uncertain terms he's a baby killer.
I'd stand right beside you, help you out.
I appreciate your call as always. Thank you.
Yep. You have a good day.
All right, thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air quickly, and then I'll do the weather forecast.
Hi, Zeb. I could have died at birth, but they fought for me, and I am grateful they did. I'd like to make a point here. There's a pattern I'm seeing, and it scares me to death. The first one is that in Roe v. Wade, the defendant was forced into, they counseled her to lie that she had been raped and used it to push through the original abortion law on the 22nd of January in 73. And when she found out what she'd been party to, it broke her heart. And she's been sorry about it. She was sorry about it ever since. Then this bill on the full birth abortion was actually signed into law, I understand, on the 22nd of January of this year, on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade. They have pushed those laws through in any dirty, insinuating, evil way they could. Then there's another thing that got pushed through during Obama's administration, and that was Obamacare.
Yeah.
I see a pattern. If there's a law that a group wants to pass that they don't think as people are going to go for, they force it through in some dirty way.
Yeah. You know, Linda, in just a minute I'm going to talk about a woman that I saw last night on TV. and she was on the Tucker Carlson program, and Tucker was trying to ask her how the left could ever support the killing of babies, and she avoided the question. And she kept throwing back at Carlson saying, well, this is my body, and women's bodies should be left alone. We can do what we want with our bodies. Well, then I'm just going to bluntly say this. Don't get pregnant. Don't use pregnancy as a birth control issue to eliminate and kill a baby. I have no time in my life for people that are that arrogant and that stupid as that woman was on television last night.
Yeah, we've lost our self-control because we can take pills or use other forms to hopefully keep from having anything happen. So it's easy to break the law of God ahead of time and not be responsible and then do something like abortion to take care of what we've done.
We are living in dangerous times right now, Linda, but the problem is, Linda, that more people than not are not willing to take a little heat from the kitchen and stand up and speak out. We're looking at a society today, and I'm going to say it, whether it's the clergy, whether it's the common person, we're looking at a society of cowards.
Mm-hmm. They sort of isolate from each other and live their own lives and aren't looking at what needs to be done to improve society. We don't live just for ourselves. We live for each other.
There you go. Very well put. Linda, you're a dear friend. Thank you so much. I got to run and do the weather. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, I'm not going to forget you. I'll be right there. I just need to get this in. The clock dictates what I have to do. Stand by. Don't forget our weather forecast brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number to call to make a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. Excellent people, highly trained people in sound and audiology and hearing problems. Dr. Christine Pickup, Courtney Mitchell, and Dr. Shane Hunsaker, all three very dedicated to your hearing health. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sunshine for the next couple of days, but be prepared for precipitation as we hit the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 39, slightly breezy winds out of the east, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 44. Clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday night, bringing along with it a chance of rain and or snow showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 32. By Saturday, rain showers are likely, about a 70% chance. We are expecting a high of 47. Winds out of the south-southeast right around 10 miles an hour. For Sunday, more rain and snow is in the forecast. Mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 44. And by Monday, rain and snow showers expected for the morning hours. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 39. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Range.
Gina, thank you. Great job. Don't forget to call Mount Harrison Audiology for your hearing appointment today. 312-0957. Absolutely the best serving you. Caller, you have been extremely patient. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, listen, Zeb, this thing shouldn't even be an issue. When a baby first comes out, it's breathing, it's alive, and whoever decides to kill it should be charged with murder. That's just about the way human beings are going to be treated here in the future. It's like if somebody walking down the street and you don't like them, it's okay to go over and just shoot and kill them.
Yeah.
Where's this thing going?
There again. There's the key right there. You've unlocked the door. Where is this thing going? I honestly believe that the left, these evil people on the left, I have nothing good to say about them. They want a hemlock society where they're going to judge who is going to be allowed to live or die on the birthing table or who's going to live or die as elderly citizens. This is a hemlock society that's coming down the pike, Tony. If you can't see it, open your eyes. It's there.
Boy, anyhow, this is just should wake the nation up. Everybody involved in this should be excited and aggravated.
Absolutely. Tony, I always appreciate your calls. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay, Zeb.
All right.
Bye.
Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Just one quick point. If a pregnant woman is murdered and the baby dies, it's considered a double homicide.
That's right.
But now we have this dual justice system that we can allow a live birth to be murdered, and yet somebody, like say a pregnant woman is killed and the baby dies, then that's a double homicide. And it's so we have this dual justice system all the way up and down the line. The liberals get away with literally with murder, and the rest of us have to live in a different justice system, And so I just wanted to make that point.
I appreciate it, Adrian. Thank you. God bless you for your call back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, here's this little baby laying on this gurney. Where's the attention? Where's the compassion? Where's the human nurturing? Oh, well, no. We're probably going to let that baby die. Oh, everybody's in talking to the mother, the doctor, perhaps family members. Oh, she doesn't want that baby. Oh, okay. And they just go and kill the baby. And like I said earlier this morning, that baby basically goes to the trash. Do you want to live in a society like that? I don't. And I'm going to fight for everything I can on this radio program. We're heard all over the nation and all over the world. We've got, I think, Dr. History segment and everything, like 35 foreign countries that tune in and everything. Not just for his segment, but for the entirety of our program. I am going to come out after these people with the most absolute, definitive hate statements against them that I can muster. They can try to shut me up. They can try to pull the plug or my advertisers. Go for it. I'm going to come after you. I am going to come after you. Again, look at the pictures on the wall, folks. Your family, your kids, and your grandkids. Think about what your life would be like right now today without Johnny, Susie, Ricky, Sarah, whatever the case might be. Because they were unwanted and left to die on a hospital gurney. Or they were Down syndrome babies. I listened to a Down syndrome young man on TV this morning, and unashamedly, it brought me to tears. This young man was so articulate and said how he was so grateful that they didn't kill him because he loves life. And he loves his family. And he loves going to church. And he's happy with his life. But yet we have those Puritans in our society that know more because they're elitists. They know more than you and I. And they want this one dies, this one lives, this one goes, this one stays attitude. And we are the ones that are guilty for allowing this to happen. There should be a run, not a march, a run to that governor's mansion in Virginia. Or to Cuomo's mansion in New York, or to any of these absolute lunatics that are espousing the killing of babies. And they should be tarred and feathered and thrown into a barrel pit. I'm going to fight them. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They are our major sponsor, and we certainly appreciate everything they do. Whatever the road throws at you, believe me, snow, ice, mud, yuck, you name it, it's going to be safer driving with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, they've got all the car, pickup, and SUV tires, all the tread designs, everything. I mean, tires like the WinterCat SST, oh boy, increased stability, advanced winter traction. They've got them all. They've got them all for you. Stop in and see them today. And don't forget, too, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this and the best of service at 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. the best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. And I mean this when I say this. As we go to the news, if there are those in the audience of liberal left persuasions that are mad and gnashing their teeth and burning their hair over what I said this morning, good. And may God help your soul. We're going to take a break right now and send it over to Wheels. We'll be back next hour with the Chamber Report and also Rita Ramsey. Don't forget, at 10:30 this morning, we are expecting a call from United States Senator Mike Crapo, and it'll be about a 20-minute interview, and I'll try to work in some of your phone calls. So that's what's coming up the rest of the morning on Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away. And a good morning to you, and thank you for tuning back in. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, the last day of January. My goodness, the 31st. I want to remind you we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with all the best of tires for your winter driving needs, and along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have our Chamber of Commerce report in just a moment, but I want to remind everybody about Hello Holly Rowe. How are you at Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors, along with her dedicated staff? You know, if you're a senior citizen and you want to stay at home, I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit. But you might need a little help with meal preparation or light housekeeping or certain errands, whatever. They can and they will help. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors, 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. The number to call and find out more, 208-312-5715. Now Medicaid and VA approved, also private pay. Check it out, Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors, 312-5715. Oh, and by the way, I want to give a great big salute to a very nice man and his staff, and that's, of course, Joel Heward over at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, of course, his family and his staff taking care and helping you and your family in a real critical time of need when there's the passing of a loved one. And always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember this. Call them, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary. And also remember Joel Heward serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Well, I got to kind of nestle down in this chair a little bit, buckle up, and get ready, because we're in for a jet ride, because we're going to be talking to Miss Rapid Fire over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I am wonderful. How are you today?
Well, good. How did your great big doodad go last week, that festive occasion?
Our annual installation banquet was amazing. It was just so wonderful. We had a great turnout. Over 160 people attended our dinner at the Best Western, and it was beautiful. It was wonderfully decorated. We had over 20 different businesses sponsor tables at that event, and we had our silent auction for the first time. It was a huge success. So we would just like to send a great big thank you out to all of our sponsors, D.L. Evans Bank, Dot Foods, Idaho Central Credit Union, McCain's, Pacific Ethanol, and Intermountain Healthcare, and along with all of our table sponsors and just all of our members and people in general, we just had a wonderful time, Zeb.
Well, it sounds like you're as bubbly as can be about this morning, so great plans for next year, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. We learned so much this year. You know, we have a smaller office staff this year, and this event is put on almost solely by our office staff, just me and Lorena over here. And we are so pleased with the turnout. We've got lots of great notes for next year.
Well, okay, here we go. What's on the list of things to do?
Oh, my goodness. Things coming up. So I would just also like to thank our 110% participants. So the 110% Club is a new program that we just implemented in December in the Chamber. And what it is, it's a voluntary contribution to the Chamber, 10% above and beyond your yearly membership investments. And let me tell you that we have already had over 44 businesses that have renewed their membership, that have elected to put into this 110% club. And I would just like to send a great big thank you out to all of them. This is a special budget item that's going to help go towards building and landscaping and maintenance improvements in our building and upgrading our technology. So great shout out to our 110% club participants. Some other things going on in the chamber. Another thing that our chamber does for our members here in the Valley, we participate in the Idaho Chamber Alliance. And what that is a way for our businesses in our local area to get their voices heard at the state legislature level. So we will be attending the Chamber Day at the legislature this next week, and it's up in Boise. We're going to be meeting with legislators, hearing from Governor Little. There's lots of keynote speakers, and we're just learning what's going on at the state level so we can bring that information back to our members here in the Mini-Cassia area. So we're super excited about that.
Let me ask you a question there. Do all the chambers get together and have a great big ball-de-rah and compare notes and see how, if there could be a checklist as to how to make things better for the entire state?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that the Idaho Chamber Alliance does. We had a meeting a couple months ago, and this one was over in Idaho Falls, and we kind of said, okay, what's going on in your communities? What kind of things are needing to happen? And then we all get together as a Chamber Alliance and make our positions known, and then we lobby for those events at the state legislator level. So we are absolutely in contact. While the legislature is in session, we have weekly phone conferences to kind of see the statuses of everything that we're working on, so we can relay that information back to our members.
And I would imagine there might be a little stealing and pilfering of ideas that might work in a different respective area.
It is, and it's been a great resource for me being new in this position to really just say, hey, you know, what's worked up in your area? And I've gotten such great feedback from all over the state, clear out to northern Idaho and eastern and western, and it is just a wonderful way to network and learn all of the different aspects.
Okay. What else is going on?
It's great. So we've got our Ambassador Monthly Luncheon. We're kicking those back off Wednesday, February 13th. It'll be at Maury's Steakhouse at noon. If you're interested in being an ambassador of the Chamber, we're always looking to add to that program. Everyone's invited. It's a really low cost, only $25 for the entire year if you're a Chamber member. So come on over and find out what's going on in the community. We meet every second Wednesday at Maury's at noon. So the next one will be February 13th. The Chamber Monthly Luncheon, we skipped January because of the banquet, but we're back on track for February. It'll be held the second Thursday, February 14th, 2019, from 12 to 1. This time we're going to be located at the Cassia County School District office over at 3650 Overland Avenue. And we're going to have speakers from both Cassia and Minidoka County School Districts to present their bond information and answer any questions you may have. So this is not only just for Chamber members. It's a little bit of increased cost if you're not a Chamber member. But come on over. We'd love to have you February 14th at the Cassia County School District office. As far as member events, the Historic Wilson Theater is presenting Little Shop of Horrors. And, you know, I love this one, Zeb, because the plant says, "Feed me, Seymour." So I might have to take my kids to see it. It's February 8th, 9th, 11th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And tickets are available online at www.historicwilsontheater.com.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. We have bingo every Saturday at the Mini-Cassia VFW, Post 3043. You can find more information on that on our website calendar. And we're still doing our photo contest, and we're getting kind of down to the wire on this, Deb. And I have to let you know I've only received about 10 photos for our contest. So we're going to have 10 winners. So it's a pretty good odds right now. So just email your photos over to me at president@minicassiachamber.com. They'll be entered in our photo contest. The winners will be decided before our women's seminar, and that's another thing I've got to tell you about today, Zeb, is our women's committee met earlier in the week, and we've decided to go back to the women's seminar and expo. We have a date set for that. It'll be April 24th. It's a Wednesday. That also happens to be Administrative Professionals Day. It's going to be held at the Best Western, and we'll let you in on more details as that gets closer.
Okay, now I'm scared to ask because I'm sure there's something else. What else do you have for us this morning?
Oh, you know, we're starting to book our business after hours. These are great events to get out and network and promote your business. So we're booking those now for the summer season. If you have any questions, call us at the Chamber. And I do have one community event that's on our calendar for the upcoming month, and that's the South Central Community Action Partnership is hosting their Empty Bowls event. It'll be Tuesday, March 5th at Canyon Crest in Twin Falls. and you can find more information about that on our website at www.minicashachamber.com.
Holy smokes. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The lovely Sarah Seymour at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. I know. It's that time. I kind of cringe a little bit, and I sit back and I go, okay, what's the Sarah's Groaner for this week?
Oh, this one's great. So, do you remember the Back to the Futures movies?
I do.
Okay, so my husband said this to me the other day, and it made me laugh so hard and made me realize that this is why I married him. He goes, Sarah, you know, if I had a DeLorean, I'd probably drive it from time to time.
It took just a second, but then when it really grabbed a hold, I thought, was it really worth it?
Totally worth it.
Okay. Sarah, God bless you. Thank you on behalf of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Zeb. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you. I like that. The more you listen and think about it, the more it is. Oh, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wow. Big things going on over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley with Jeff and the whole crew. You know they're having their January flooring event. Right now. Yeah, today's the last day. You better get in there. And they're getting all ready for the great February specials for President's Day and everything else, with all the mattress specials and the sofa sleepers and the new bedroom sets and the recliners. Oh, you'd better stop in. Beautify and comfortize your home at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. Really great people serving you. I guarantee that's the truth, too. I get a kick out of Jeff. We see him almost every week at the basketball games and everything. He's got a boy that absolutely is a tough competitor. And he's like a water bug. He is all over out there. Very, very impressive young man. Hey, let's not forget, too, our friends over to Let's Ride. And when I say that, I urge you that if you have never had a snow machine, a snowmobile, or a four-wheeler, an ATV, what are you waiting for? You're missing out on a ton of fun. Yeah, you are. And they're located over at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And just for the experience of trying to figure out how they got all that stuff in that showroom, stop over to Let's Ride today. All the snowmobiles, four-wheelers, accessories, everything over at Let's Ride. Scared me when you opened the door, Deanne. So stop over and see Nick and Randy and the whole crew today. They're waiting to serve you. And speaking of serve, they've got a super service department to keep you running, too. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, yeah. This is where the fun is sold. I would like to hear from you right now, so give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What is going on in our society? And it's happening here, and it's happening statewide, regionally, nationwide, where all of a sudden there is this preponderance of thought, this pushing of the thought that anybody that is wealthy and is a person of means and owns a company and or corporation is a bad, evil, white person. Oh, gotta get rid of them. They're sinful. Where did all this come from? We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and now it seems to be the normalcy of the Democrats and their party to absolutely criticize and demonize the folks that have helped make this world a better place, with more job opportunities, business opportunities, educational opportunities, etc. They're being demonized. You know, whether I like his politics or not, I will tell you that I listened to what's his name? Howard Schultz, I believe. And Howard Schultz is the CEO of Starbucks. The guy came from absolutely nowhere. Charles Schultz, I think I said his name. He came from nowhere. He came from the projects. He lived in basically a ghetto situation growing up. And worked hard, studied hard, and applied himself with the talents that God had given him and turned into one of the most financially solvent billionaires in the world today. CEO of Starbucks. Why in the world would we want to criticize that kind of a person? Why in the world would we want to tear down someone like, I said yesterday, J.R. Simplot? Or the man that started Home Depot or Lowe's or any business in this country? Why do we want to tear them down and demonize them? Oh, you're evil. Look at all the money you've got. Well, you need to spread that around. You need to give it to those that don't have it. Wait, stop the bus. Get up and work. Go to work. Get an education. Get out of your little security bubble and go to work, and maybe you too can use the talents that God gave you and you can be successful. I am so sick of these crybaby wannabes that never will, because they're too damn lazy to get up and go to work and educate themselves and make their situation better. But they'll be the first ones that will hammer and clamor for taking your money and my money as a giveaway project. I do not understand where the work ethic has gone in this country. I know many young millennials that have it, but I know equally as many or more millennials that are too lazy and, quite frankly, too stupid to get up off the couch and go do something. It's too easy for them to grab a tin cup and stand on the corner and go, oh, the world hates me and I need the government to feed me and clothe me. Oh, woe is me. Yeah, woe is you, because I don't want to help you at all. I don't want to give one thin nickel to you. And then when they start turning this into a racial issue, these white men that are the heads of businesses, these Caucasians. Well, wait a minute. What difference does skin color make one iota? If you've got talent and you've got the drive and you've got the will to succeed, anybody of any skin color can succeed in America, even today, if you try. But for Elizabeth Warren, this absolutely sickening and disgusting woman, and she is, from Massachusetts, wanting to attach, now listen, if you didn't hear about this, you need to know. She wants to attach a 2% surtax on all wealthy people and their assets. Now, keep in mind that the Democrats want to already raise the wealthy people in this country into tax brackets of 70, 80, and maybe even 90% of their money. But she wants to stick a 2% surtax on top of their assets and then give that money to other people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, sir. You know, the irony of Elizabeth Warren going after the owner of the Red Chiefs is just so funny. Here this gal claimed to be Native American Indian and got a cush job at a college teaching because she claimed to be an Indian, and going after the guy who has made his money owning the Red Chiefs.
Yeah.
Washington Redskins. I mean, it's you look at it, it's laughable.
No, that's where you and I disagree, and I don't mean to sound like I'm being divisive against you, but it's not laughable. It's pathetic.
Well, it is. I mean, this man has worked hard, like the guy with Starbucks. He has worked hard. He's pulled himself up from the bootstraps. Look at Dr. Ben Carson. He's another example of someone who come out of the project, out of the ghettos, and pulled himself up from the bootstraps and become the number one neurosurgeon in the world almost.
Well, wait a minute. Let's just turn this into a localized situation. What about you? You've worked hard. You've worked darn hard. And you have your own business. And you are out there every day trying to be a big and better entrepreneur for your business. But you are also sharing with others. I have yet to go to a lunch bunch when you and your lovely bride aren't there that you don't reach into your own pocket and put up some of the door prizes that are available for drawing. You earn, but yet you always give back. And I am sick and tired, and I will absolutely fight to the core for anybody that denigrates people that have their own business, denigrates people because they're successful, because these same people are creating the need in the community for more jobs, maybe bigger businesses, and they're also giving back to help others.
Well, look, Elizabeth Warren and them are creating a dependency culture.
Yes.
And
leeches.
Like teaching kids as they're growing up, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you still get a trophy.
Yeah.
And if you teach a kid that, hey, if you win, it's better than if you lose. But if you lose, you got to learn how to lose, because you're going to make mistakes in this life, and you're going to have to get yourself up, dust yourself off, and try harder not to make another mistake and lose again.
Well, and Wheels, can I have a little bit more sound in my headsets over there, please? It's a little low, please, Wheels. Doug, we can sit here and preach till heck freezes over, but I said yesterday on the program, and I'm going to stand behind this 10,000%, where would Idaho and the Northwest be without the work, the blood, sweat, and tears of J.R. Simplot?
True. We wouldn't have the potato industry we have out here in Idaho. I mean, that man, he was a hard worker, and he was smart, and he managed his money well, and he invested it well, so he was successful.
Okay, but what about the man?
He come from a sheep herder. His dad, he was herding sheep when he was going through high school.
Absolutely. What about the man that started Home Depot, and now it is a megabucks company with outlets all over the United States that employs so many people, makes people managers, helps people have a good living so they can help with their families, etc. What about that? Should we demonize him and hate him because he's so successful?
The left does, because the left does not have the get up and go, does not have the deal. They've created the woe is me society, or the people that dependent society, or I'm a victim society, however you want to name it.
They want a government crutch. They want the government to be the see-all, be-all, give-all to them because they're leeches on society, and that's the way the left wants the people, so they have complete control.
Exactly, and I know a person personally. I won't mention any names. The gal is very, very talented. Her pictures are just gorgeous. I mean, she can take pictures and you'll look at that and say, well, I never thought something like that would look, and it's just beautiful. And her drawings, she's very artistic. She went to draftsman school and was a very excellent draftsman. I mean, I've looked at pictures that she'd done in drafting, and you would swear a professional did it, and she was in school learning how to do it. But this gal took the easy road. She is on welfare, and she doesn't want to work, and it's woe is me.
Oh, brother.
And I mean, this gal if I had a tenth of that talent, I'd be way better than I am right now.
Well, and this is why, and I've only got a minute left, and we got to go to Rita, but I got to say this. When you take Charles Schultz of Starbucks, I don't like his very liberal policies on other issues, but you got to look at him and say, hey, he started a business from nothing. He came from nothing, and he made himself something. That's the American dream personified.
And how he did it was hard work.
You got it, buddy.
And
hey,
not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to lose.
Yeah, well, that's where the Democrats, they'll never be successful because they're a bunch of wimpy cowards that don't even play to win.
Exactly. Anyway, God bless, and let's do what we can for our senior centers.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
I sound like a broken record, but you're going to keep hearing me do this until some people step up and help the senior center.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. The needle's in the groove. Keep playing it. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more, our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. They are dedicated to your needs, and they really are devoted to serving you. So please write this number down. Give them a call. Make an appointment, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Holy cow, look what time it is. Here she comes, the lovely Rita Ramsey. Good morning. Let me try that again. The lovely Rita Ramsey. Good morning.
Good morning.
There she is. Scared me for a minute, Rita.
I was thinking maybe I'd be quiet and see if I could hear you cursing or anything, but you didn't give in, so here I am.
No, the only thing I cursed at this morning, and I'm going to get right into it with you, it's a very, very serious and somber story, and I was anxious to hear your remarks. You probably heard me Monday and again this morning in a condemnation for what's going on in our country, where we are now scraping the pond scum off the bottom of the barrel with a lack of respect for life and humanity. And I'm talking about the full-term birth abortions that are being advocated in 8 states along with Washington, D.C.
This is just something that is so unimaginable. I mean, when Roe versus Wade kicked in and we had all that, we kind of, okay, we'll go along to get along. And those of us that were involved in it over the years and trying to fight against it, it's kind of like, well, we're not really making any progress. But I wanted to kind of go back to something. I think it was maybe Adrian that called in. I don't mean to get all churchy on you, but let me just say, in my mind as a young child, probably the 10, 12-year-old age, when I would watch the 10 Commandments once a year, and there's a scene that comes up in my mind of all those people worshiping those golden calves and how they were so caught up in it, and remember the picture of, you'd see the ladies and they were half dressed, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, there's adulterers and everything there, and they were just doing all kinds of stuff that were destructive to them. They started putting, and the reason that I say the golden calves is, we can sit back and say, who in their right mind would want to worship a golden calf, for crying out loud? What would that do? Well, what do we worship now? There's people who worship this abortion thing, and that's what they live with. And so basically they're worshiping something other than God, and they're putting this way ahead of God. And those societies, civilizations that started worshiping and getting way out of hand, and there's the Sodom and Gomorrah and all those others through the Bible through all the years, those societies were destroyed because of their wickedness. I'm not so sure that God will necessarily come down and destroy our society or the societies that are on the earth, but I think we'll destroy ourselves. And it's really sad to see that this is happening, but when you go the route of there's no respect for life, and you don't want to have anything to do with it, we're headed there, and that really concerns me.
Well, when I listen to the so-called governor that is also a so-called doctor, Ralph Northam of Virginia, explain the procedure and how the baby is laid on a gurney, full-term baby, healthy baby, and they said, we try to make it comfortable, and then they get together with the mother and decide whether or not they will kill or let the baby live. And I'm sitting there going, the word kill and let live should be applied to the doctor and the mother, because they are the most heinous murderers of infanticide that I've ever heard. This baby doesn't have any representation. This baby has no one standing for it, the baby, boy or girl. And these people are making a decision of life and death. That's not theirs. That's God's.
The decision that should be made is the mother should sign a paper saying, I either want to keep this baby and keep it alive, or I don't. I'll sign it over and let adoption people take care of it. It is just unthinkable that this is going on. But, you know, we kind of hollered and screamed, and I was one of them right at the top of the pack when Obama, in his legislative things in Chicago as a senator,
Yep.
one of the only things that he participated in as far as like a vote, the rest of them were just present, he didn't really vote, was that they did not want to let there be some way that people could hold on to those babies and let them finally just die. It's let's just put them in a pile and let them die. Because there was that nurse who had brought that lawsuit up against, against the hospitals in the state or whoever it was, and so they had to decide: are we gonna let a nurse hold that baby till it dies and let it die peacefully, or are we just gonna put it in a pile and let it just finish dying? And that was the one thing that he voted for, was that we just need to let the babies die, not to hold them and comfort them until they die.
I had that nurse on my program. I remember the story vividly. I remember listening to her on my program with her voice shaking and quaking with tears. I had her on this show. And Rita, I said this earlier this morning, and I'm not going to back up for anybody on this. If we are going to start killing babies, full-term babies, many, and most are healthy babies, the other end of the spectrum, how about somebody introducing a bill that says, over 70, are you? Well, we're going to have to look at some termination to make room for others. The Hemlock Society thought is prevalent in this society right now.
Oh, absolutely. And they probably won't start with the 70-year-olds. They'll start with all the infirm. So you'll have maybe some of those who are mentally not whole. You're going to have those who have all kinds of infirmities. Maybe they can't walk, maybe they can't be productive, maybe there's this, that, and the other, and they will start doing that. These people in wheelchairs and that type of thing, they'll start getting rid of those, and then they'll come after the ones that say, well, you're a little too old to be a contributor to the economy, so rather than just draw Social Security and be in your own little world, we're going to withdraw everything from you, from soup to nuts to food to money to everything, and off you go as well.
But, when you think about this abortion issue, and of course I think it's absolutely nothing more than murder, and that's the way I'm going to leave it. But look at someone with Down syndrome. And I listened to that young man this morning that was at a Senate hearing, and he was a Down syndrome child. He was probably about 22, 23 years old, and just had a zest for life and a big smile and everything. And if you have Down syndrome, or maybe, like I said last hour, you're born with a club foot, or maybe a partial arm, and society and medicine and that particular mother deems you as, too much work, too much bother, let's just kill them. Have we come to that?
Well, I'm afraid that we are, and it all comes down to what your priorities are and what you want to worship. Do you want to worship God in the way that He wants it, or do you just want to start worshiping material things and saying, well, we got to do this, or this person's really great, so we're going to worship him instead? And it is just a really sad thing, and it is murder, and it won't change in my mind or minds of many people. I heard a lady on the a later radio thing yesterday afternoon say that when she first moved to New York, she was pretty pro-choice. She said, I had a friend that said, oh my gosh, Linda, if you're pro-choice, you've got to just see this. So she took her to actually view a abortion.
Oh my.
And she said, after I got done with that, I am pro-life, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and I cannot imagine in my right mind why anybody would be pro-choice after I saw that. So maybe we just need to get some abortion films out and start letting these idiots with their mouths yapping about how important it is for pro-choice to see this and see what is actually happening, because I think a lot of hearts and minds would be changed if they knew really what was going on, instead of just going with the crowd.
I could not agree more. And I just absolutely am so upset at certain segments, if you will, of our society that could help get rid of this problem by more public communication. And I mentioned on the first of the week, and I'll do it again right now this hour, the clergy right now, they've got so much that they could be doing and saying from the pulpit in regards to any church. I don't care what denomination it is. They've got to start fighting back and be the leaders instead of standing up there at the pulpit and not doing a darn thing.
Well, it's for sure that all the clergy needs to make very well their positions known and encourage their parishioners to understand what it's about and that this is what we're against. I just don't understand how a Christian congregation of any kind could support pro-choice when there really isn't a choice. The choice is taken away from the innocent.
That's right. I've got another story I wanted to get into, and it's in regards to being successful, working hard, like we were talking a few minutes ago with Doug, and making something of yourself, utilizing the talents that God gave you, and going out and achieving, and trying, and winning. Now, today, this is hated. Oh, the Democrats, they hate you. They deride you. They call you evil and sinful. And then if you're a Caucasian, you're one of those evil white rich people. What is going on here?
Well, I actually heard a conversation that kind of leads to this. First of all, it is pathetic when you shoot down the innovation of those who want to innovate and bring things up. And you had mentioned J.R. Simplot, and there's a number of Idahoans that have just done really, really well. John Huntsman was from Shelley, Idaho, and was raised practically in just a little cardboard shack almost.
Absolutely.
And he developed and invented the styrofoam containers that they put hamburgers in.
Yep.
And then he went on to, innovate and do many more, and then he put his money to use for such good things. And, he had mentioned a number of times, if you followed him, that my goal is to die broke because I want to give away everything that I have to do good in this world. And there's those kind of people that just make such a mark in society, and we need to look up at them and say, you know what, these are just amazing people who've made it so much better for us. When you have people who start, as you mentioned, the Starbucks guy, he was raised in the projects, and so he came from a really poor family, and they didn't have a lot to look forward to, and he kind of came up the ranks. It just boggles my mind to see how he would be not conservative. I'll just leave it there, not conservative, because the people usually who make things on their own, it's kind of like, you know what, this took a lot of work. I'm not just going to give it away. And those who come up the ranks and do really well, the Apple guy and some of those, maybe their fortunes came too easily and too soon, even though they were great innovators. But for them to turn and become just almost socialist, and he's saying, hey, I'm not socialist, and that's this kind of society we can't have, makes me sound like he's a little more conservative, but he is not conservative, and that really boggles my mind of how you can spend your lifetime building something and then stand up for something that would literally take it away from you.
I do not understand why and how this movement of hatred got started. I mean, successful people. They should be absolutely put up on a pedestal, and we should read about them. We should study about what they did. We should understand how they did it and perhaps imitate and emulate exactly what they did so that we can use the same talents and go out and do what God wanted us to do, is go out and prosper and make something of our lives. But now the left, they're demonizing them. And then to say that they want to stick a 70, 80, or 90% taxation rate on the wealthy to bring them back down. And then Elizabeth Warren, the dumbest woman I've ever heard in my life, wants to put a 2% surtax on all their wealthy assets. Why? This is ridiculous. They've worked hard for what they have, and they have shared it.
Well, absolutely. And your question about where did this start? I think, and this is just me, I don't know, I think it kind of started with the unions. You know, the unions were, well, let's do this, and you've got rights for this and that and the other, and the guy who's hiring you, he's the bad guy, you know, and usually he's the guy with the money. Well, how many of us have worked for people who were poor?
Yeah.
The poor don't furnish jobs for those of us who are looking for jobs. It's the people who have money, have it to invest, and are anxious to make more money, who provide jobs. And I don't know how many times we've done a lot of jobs over the years for people who are quite wealthy, and some of the beautiful homes and businesses and things that they were doing, and we were able to work for them and put whether it was heating or electrical systems in for them, and we were just so grateful that there were people who had money that wanted to spend it here locally and give us work to do. I mean, you know, we earned it. We didn't ever get anything given to us, but we were so grateful for those who had money, who were willing to spend it and build.
When you have the creation of a society that is dependent upon leeching, standing there with a tin cup, not working, gimme, 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 then on the other side of the spectrum, you have a society that you can control without any power whatsoever. You've got them. I mean, they're in the palm of your hand. They're going to depend on you for food, shelter, everything else. And that's the dependency that the Democrats want.
Well, and they're doing a pretty good job of it, because there's probably a good percent of the people who are non-taxpayers who are in that category. There are some that aren't. They're not looking for a handout and expecting it and want to be there their whole life. But there's a ton of them out there, and it's getting to be about 43% that are dependent on those who pay taxes, and they pay nothing. And once you hit over that 50 mark, and I'm not so sure that we're not actually there, and we will be if we keep letting these illegals come in, and there not have to be some stipulation as what the criteria is for them to stay, is we will be over 50%, and it will break us.
I'm going to do a weather forecast, and we're going to have more with my dear friend Rita Ramsey. Stand by, but the weather brought to you this hour by our friends at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area well over 50 years. Long time of top-notch professionalism in serving you, your families, and your business with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. Thank you, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sunshine for the next couple of days, but be prepared for precipitation as we hit the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 39, slightly breezy winds out of the east, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 44. Clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday night, bringing along with it a chance of rain and or snow showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 32. By Saturday, rain showers are likely, about a 70% chance. We are expecting a high of 47. Winds out of the south-southeast right around 10 miles an hour. For Sunday, more rain and snow is in the forecast. Mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 44. And by Monday, rain and snow showers expected for the morning hours. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 39. That's a look at your weather. for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Have questions about maybe how the deductions have changed or new tax rates, whatever? You'd better get a hold of them today. Offices in Burley and Rupert, the best that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for over 50 years. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Rita, when you listen to the news and you sit back and watch these news stories with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez now being hailed as the poster girl for the Democratic Party, or you listen to Kamala Harris and her way out on the left branch ideas, I mean, wow, single payer, get rid of all private insurance companies, major gun control, I mean, the list goes on. And then the ditzy, absolutely stupid Elizabeth Warren. Wow, these people, even if a small percentage of people start following him, we're in trouble.
Well, we are, and it all comes down to one thing. When you hear somebody say free health care, everybody gets the same. Nobody has to wait in line for doctors and insurances to do this or that or the other, or free education, no student loans. Who do you think it's going to affect the most?
Amen.
Those who are coming up the ranks, who have just barely got their right to vote, they will bite into that, and it's going to be a sad day when they find out that this didn't work. The other thing that they need to be reminded of is they need to be reminded of what Venezuela looks like right now, because this is exactly where it will take us. And those who are in charge will rob the country of all of their money and then take off and leave, just like Maduro's probably headed to do right now.
You know, and when you listen to this Ocasio-Cortez, I got to tell you something. Every time she's on TV, I just grit my teeth. I find her to be such a detestable young woman, 29 years of age, never has done anything or accomplished anything, doesn't know anything about business world, etc. And yet she's out there criticizing the capitalistic system and demanding that we turn socialistic and everything. And the Democrats, many are embracing her. Many more out in the streets are embracing her. Do people not understand what socialism has done, like you said, to Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries? My goodness, people died in the streets. People didn't even have toilet paper. People couldn't even have enough money in their pocket to buy a bunch of bananas. Nothing. And that's the socialism they want to bring here? What is the matter with these nincompoops?
This happens when people become ignorant, which means unlearned, about what's going on. I heard him saying this morning on the news, well, actually it was a news radio show about 6 o'clock, that they were in Venezuela. They're worried about trying to see if they can get the military to switch over to the new guy. And so what they're trying to do is get a hold of the lower military, the ones that don't get paid really well, and see if they can't convince them, because they're actually only being paid in food and toilet paper. They're not getting money. They're getting food and toilet paper, because that's a rarity, and a lot of people in Venezuela don't have that. Now, if you can imagine getting along without those two things that are kind of important, wouldn't you stop and think twice if that's where you wanted your country to go?
But look,
just basic things. I mean, heck, it doesn't take anybody with a big brain or a high IQ to figure out you need food and toilet paper, for crying out loud.
Look at the similarities, though. I got into a conversation about this yesterday. Real quick, give me a short answer. I'm almost out of time. Look at the similarities of the country, even though our countries are so much different in size. Venezuela was absolutely powerfully rich with some of the greatest oil reserves in the world. What happened? They got shut down. And then, of course, socialistic leaders took over and trashed the country. I.e., look at America. Now we have got oil reserves where we are going to be and are the biggest oil exporter in the world today. And these loony lefts want to stop that and put us on solar and wind power and absolutely have us living in caves. And they are the ones that are espousing socialism.
And they're the ones that we ought to ship off to Venezuela.
On a leaky raft.
Exactly.
You know, Rita,
learn.
I just really appreciate visiting with you on Thursdays, and I extend to you and your family, everybody, just a really good week, and hopefully the news will get better. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
God bless. Rita Ramsey, a dear friend of this program. Hey, real quick, I want to remind you, Saturday, February 23rd at Maury's Steakhouse. Don't forget the Minnecasia Republican Lincoln Day Luncheon. It's going to begin at 12 noon on Saturday the 23rd. $25 per plate. Get your tickets. Minidoka County Chairman Jeff McEwen or Cassia County Chairman Doug Pickett. They've got all the tickets. Be there and talk to your legislators. That's what you should be doing on Saturday, February 23rd, Maury's Steakhouse. Oh, boy, if you're hungry, I am, and starving to death, I am. I know some great places to go, like right now, let's talk about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, how about a famous Farmer Brown burger and fries, special sauce, with an eggnog shake. I'm in heaven. Love it. Don't forget to stop in today. Great food, great menu choices right there at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. One of the great places to get together for coffee in the morning and maybe have a breakfast burrito, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, onions, tomatoes, sauce, all on a tortilla shell. It is absolutely phenomenal. And try that new pork burrito with beans, pork, rice, sour cream, and cheese. Knock your boots off delicious at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, as I'm drooling, let's not forget our friends over at Burgers Etc. 2 locations, 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got different soups every day, the bread bowl soups, and they've got the pumpkin shakes and the eggnog shakes. And every Sunday at the Burley location, they have shrimp dinners, only $5.99. Oh, you're going to love the people and the great choices at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Well, last but not least, let's talk a little bit about Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. How about a delicious, scrumptious, smack your lips together buffalo burger or a cheesy broccoli spud? Oh, my goodness. Excellent people serving you, and they got delicious. You got to try one of these cupcakes. Knock your boots off great. You're going to love the food, and I said the people at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn, and those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Right now, my old itty-bitty buddy Wheels is going to take us up to news, and we'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, well, I understand we had a little bonus coverage on the radio. Wheels, when you went to the news, you didn't clip me off the air, and fortunately I didn't say anything that was going to be earth-shattering, so okay, here we are, back on the air as we start the third hour. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Holy cow, we got a lot of things to talk about this half hour. We're going to be visiting with Cassia County School Days and a lady by the name of Ladine Henderson in just a few moments. That'll be coming up. And then at 10:32 this morning, we are expecting... we'll see. A call from our Senator Mike Crapo, and we'll find out more about what's going on or not going on in Washington. Now, I'm going to take the first part of the conversation, and then I've got some questions I need to ask. Hopefully, we'll have a little time, and we'll extend some outside calls with questions. So that's the game plan right now. Let's see. I want to remind you about our dear friends over at Quality's Electronics. Hello, Bruce and the rest of the crew. You know, you got time. You got time today. to get in there and check out a great big amount of savings on a great big TV for the great big game coming up on Sunday, the Super Bowl. My goodness, and save money too. I am absolutely impressed. I think we've bought, 5, 6 televisions and all other stuff, from Quality's Electronics. They are so good, and they understand everything, and they can kind of give it to you in layman's language like me. I can understand it. Oh, yeah. And I'll guarantee you they've got the best prices on all the different models. You check it out today. Super Bowl sale, big savings on big TVs for the big game at Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. We've been blessed on this program for a long, long time to have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and Debbie Critchfield has done an outstanding job of putting together the different people and segments, etc., and I just want to give her a great big shout-out again for the job she does. And the sponsors and the advertisers, we really want to say a big thank you to A Child's World at 1308 Overland and Burley, and of course they've got all kinds of clothing, and much of which is on sale right now. Listen to this. The winter clothes are 40% off, and the coats 50% off. I'm not kidding. Get in there today. Find just the one you're looking for. And all the games and the toys and the puzzles and the Cherokee scrubs, everything at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley, and they bring you Cassia County School Days every Thursday right here at 1010. With us on the phone this morning, I'm going to check first of all with Wheels. Has this lady called in, Wheels?
Yes, sir. She's on the phone.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. With us on the phone is the Special Education Director for the Cassia County School District, Ladine Henderson. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine and pleased to be with you this morning.
Did I say your name correctly? If I didn't, please correct me.
Thank you. It's Ludine Henderson, but I do prefer to go by Lou.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to call you Lou. All right. Tell me a little bit about what you do for the district and what your job entails as Special Education Director.
Thank you. I'll start with the district has about 597 students with special education eligibility in our district, about 6,000 students. And so my role is to oversee the teachers. We have 27 special education teachers in 15 schools, and we serve preschool, ages 3 to 5, all the way through students that may be 21. So my role is to supervise the operations of special education. A big part of my role would be to keep our district in compliance with the procedural safeguards in special education, and just working with parents and to ensure that we have quality programs that meet the needs of our individual students that are coming to us from a number of, eligibility categories is what we would speak to. Autism, students with specific learning disabilities, emotional disabilities, and so forth. So it's a rewarding position, and special education has been my 25-year career. So I'm pleased to be in Cassia County and have been pleased with what I've seen.
Lou, I don't know that much about your job, your profession, and how you serve the district. So bear with me on some of these naive questions. But I would imagine that when it comes to special education needs for the students, each one is a separate chapter of a book. I would imagine they're all different and diversified, and it may be a little tougher for those students than others. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, that is correct. And where we identify the need of the student is actually the magic happens at the building level with the general education teacher, building principal, and a special education teacher, and of course the parent, in order to create what we call an individualized education plan, or IEP, and that speaks to your question about individualized. So depending on the needs of the students, we match the special education minutes as well as any additional support such as speech language, occupational physical therapy. We have nurses and the full range, special transportation if needed, etc. But it happens within the team. And I say sometimes I'm the lowly SPED director, that I ensure that the resources are available to allocate, but the real work is done in the individual meetings with in mind of what each child individually needs.
Okay, so now, again, another naive question. I would assume that many of the special needs students are in the same classroom together. What about the teacher? The teacher absolutely has to know the different needs and capabilities and where to go, what not to do, how to go about approaching the teaching. That teacher is a very special person. Is he or she not?
Well, I would 100% agree with the part of the quality education and training of the special education teacher, especially in intervention for curriculum and strategies, in addition to behavior support. And you had asked if all the students are in similar classrooms, and we have what we call the least restrictive environment, and so students are not all in the same classroom. And what would that would speak to is we want our students to be in general education with their peers as much as possible. So we start with the premise that they are in general education, perhaps with some para support, co-teaching. There are a number of models there. And then as a student might need more services, they may be in a resource setting where they're working on core curriculum, math, reading, for example, at their own level, so that they can make gains and try to bridge that gap. And then for students that need a high level of support, that may have cognitive disabilities and or perhaps they're on the autism spectrum and may need support in behavior, we do have special programs for students to come into cluster classrooms in the Burley area for very high levels of support. And each one of those teachers would have training and some level of expertise in dealing with the subpopulations of
right.
learning disability, autism, cognitive, hearing impairment, etc.
Lou, I'm going to have to ask you, you got a very, very quiet voice. I'm going to have to ask you to speak up just a little bit. Let me ask you this question in regards to prior to the school year. How much more advanced notification and study and putting together a curriculum, etc., do special education directors and teachers have to do for their students versus the other students?
All right. There is not much more contract time, and so our special education teachers typically come in the same time as the general education teachers. Part of the process, however, is when each one of those students have individualized plans is to work with the building principal and the general education teachers to get the schedule in place so that the students are accessible for resource or pull-out, or for our paraeducators to go in and assist. So scheduling is a big one, as well as what we call accommodations. So under the Americans with Disability Act, and then under that, the educational part of that, IDEA, accommodations are a very important piece of that. So our general education teachers need to be made aware of the accommodations that are to be delivered in the classroom for students to be as successful as they can in the general education class, in instruction, as well as during their assessments, that they are also able to have accommodations such as tests being read or more time or preferential seating. So those are the accommodations piece that must be in place, and that's a big one as well.
Lou, I want to change gears just a little bit. Instead of talking about the students, I want to talk a little bit about the teachers themselves. I would imagine, and again, I don't understand all I should on this subject, but I would assume that it's harder to find teachers to teach special education than it would be history, math, etc. And the dedication of these teachers has to absolutely be 110%.
Well, I will agree with the 110%, and that would be my experience in Cassia County. So I'm going to talk about that just briefly. I'm coming in from out of state. I've been a special educator and administrator for more than a almost 25 years, and I've been in other states, and I have never seen the dedication that I found with teachers in general and special education with the with fewer resources than other states allocate for special education. I mean, these are teachers that are student-focused and there for the kids, and I've been just sincerely impressed with all. So having said that, the 110%, they need it, and we're probably getting 120% from the staff we have in our ranks. The second piece you asked about is the shortage of special education teachers, and that is a national issue as well as a state issue. And then in the district, we have been fortunate to fill our positions in the special education ranks through a couple of ways. Individuals coming in with their degrees already, and then, of course, our alternative path has helped a number of teachers qualify for licenses in the
Mm-hmm.
And special education teachers do have to have an endorsement in special education, so you are right that there's another layer of expertise and requirements.
You just answered my next question. I was going to ask it again in regards to, I would imagine that these teachers might have to have another tier of education before they can graduate and get their certificate. Is that right?
There is a special education component, yes.
Okay. And what about our district, Cassia County District, versus other districts and also other states? Are we ahead, even, or behind the programs? Tell us a little bit about that.
I would first say that in Idaho, special education is funded the very same way that general education is funded. So in other words, other states may allocate a greater portion of the money that we get per student in each district. And in Idaho, that money is the same. So we have high-cost students, and then we have students that need fewer services. So when we say, are we ahead or behind, I think with the resources that we've been allocated, that we are hanging in there. And I'm pleased to say that. And, coming from other states, I can see strengths in the Idaho system, especially our State Department. I believe they do their due diligence to train us and keep us abreast of what's happening across the nation and the state.
One final thought here, Lou, and I could talk to you about this for quite some time, but I don't have the time this morning. But I want to ask one more question. Is it a program that the teachers and the school administration have to work more on a hand-in-hand basis with the parents, more so than other programs?
I would say yes, to some extent, because the general education teacher is also part of the IEP team. However, there is an added layer of paperwork, data collection, eligibility reports, testing for special education that certainly does add to a special education teacher's role and responsibilities, in addition to needing to have those individualized meetings annually for every child in our program.
Okay. You're a very nice lady, and I've enjoyed having you on the program. Special Education Director for Cassia School District, Lou Henderson, and please come back. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Nice lady right there, and another of the great individuals in the Cassia County school system, and there are many, I'll tell you. I've enjoyed that. Holy cow. Let's see if Wheels is about ready for our next guest. I know he's been trying to dial and get everything taken care of. Is Joe from Western Waste ready to go, Wheels?
Yes, sir, he is.
Oh, good man, good man. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been on my program for a long, long time, and they are absolutely the best at what they do because they are always at your disposal. We're talking about Western Waste Services, and we have with us Joe. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Doing good, Zeb.
Now, give us your official title, the great big name plaque that's on your desk. Tell everybody what you do.
I am the sales manager for Western Waste Services.
Now, okay, I've asked you this before, but I think it bears repeating. Sales manager. People might not understand. What do you do every day from 8 to 5 or even later as a sales manager?
I do a little bit of everything. Talk with customers about service. A lot of times I come out to people's places. They call me up and they say, hey, we would like to get service, but we have a long lane, or we're doing a cleanup project, and we want to know, can we put this in the dumpster? So a lot of times I'm out and about in the various counties we work in, just working with customers on what they can put in the containers, where can they put their can, stuff like that. So it's a lot of customer interaction and just dealing with different stuff like that.
Let me ask you, Joe, somebody moves into this area, they maybe came up from California or from back east, someplace moving into the valley, and they might have a little 5-acre place out in the country, and they don't know what to do with their garbage. What do you tell them? I mean, what are some of the parameters as far as getting route service weekly for pickup on the garbage?
It's actually super simple. You just call our office, 208-734-6969. You can talk to any one of the girls. If they do have specific questions, they can transfer it over to me or ask for me. A lot of times I'll just find out where you live at, and I can tell you, based on our computer system and where all our routes are now, I can tell you what day you're going to be and where we can put the container. And if you do have a small farm, like you were saying, with 5 acres or something like that, I'll come out, take a look at where we can put a dumpster, and we can customize the service level for whatever your needs are.
And, I still get calls. People say, well, they'll really drop a dumpster off at my property and let me fill it up, and then they'll come get it. That's about as easy as it gets, isn't it, Joe?
Oh, definitely. We offer so many different styles of services. A lot of times people, especially now with the weather being as nice as it's been here lately, we've been getting quite a few calls where people wanting to get ahead of cleanup. So if you're wanting to get a cleanup, definitely give us a call. If you have any questions on, hey, what can I put in? I got this amount of stuff. A lot of times I'll come out, take a look at what you got you want to throw away, and I can custom build a system for you to get the best bang for your buck. If it's a 2-yard, a 3-yard, a 6-yard, or even one of our big roll-offs, we can definitely work with you and work with a budget to get your property cleaned up.
Joe, I'd like to stop right there and say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but garbage and waste materials, this is a business that is getting bigger and bigger all the time because of critical shortages as to what to do with all the material. This is a real big concern, isn't it?
It is.
Explain it a little bit, please.
So where to get rid of stuff? A lot of it's coming down to the recycling market. A lot of places, basically nationwide, 60% of our material was going overseas to be recyclable through like China and various other foreign countries. When they stopped taking our material, a lot of it came back to us where we can't get rid of it. So that's what we're trying to find different streams where to get rid of it, either domestically or ultimately some of the material we can't get rid of that we're going to have to landfill. So there's been a lot of education with customers on what you can put in the recycling, what you can't put in. A lot of places we're having to just strictly landfill because we just can't get rid of the material.
Right.
So with this whole China deal, it's definitely been an interesting last couple of years.
And that's why I urge my friends and my neighbors and my listeners to contact you folks at Western Waste Services, because whether they need a route service to pick up the garbage or whether they need a dumpster or another issue that's very important today, people are running out of room and they might need a storage facility, and you also handle those Go Minis.
Yep. Yeah, that's becoming a big part of our business anymore. We just added 12 more brand new 20-foot containers to our inventory. So a lot of people are using them for storing stuff. They like the ease of it because we can bring a container out to your property, drop it in your driveway. You can fill it up. We can store it for you. Or if you're moving from one area to another, we can drop it in your driveway. You fill up all your stuff in there, and we can move it for you to your new property. It's becoming a great deal, and it's becoming super popular in the Magic Valley.
Okay. And a final thought, too, and everybody kind of looks with a wink and a smile about the porta potties, but we're coming back into porta potty season. I don't know how you keep track of all this, going from field to field during the planting and then in the fall with the harvest and everything. Porta potties are a real big business and a part of your business that's very important.
Yes, they are. We typically have a couple thousand out at any given time.
Oh my!
During the busy season. So yeah, it's becoming super popular. A lot of people need them. It's just the ease of not having to have something for some, people to go here. We can bring a porta potty out, drop it in your work site, or we have trailer units. You can take it with you when you're moving. A lot of times people are saying, hey, I'm having a big party. I don't want people coming to my house. We can come in with a couple brand new porta potties and put them outside, and it just makes everything easy for everybody.
Absolutely. Joe, is there anything that we haven't touched on this morning? As many services of Western Waste Services, I don't want to overlook anything I've forgot about.
No, that's been pretty much everything, Zeb. I mean, we appreciate all the business in the Mini-Cassia area. And I'd like to invite anybody to come out. We're going to be at the Home and Garden Show the 15th through the 17th at CSI. So if you have any questions, want to meet one of us, we're going to have a booth there. So come down, see our booth. We're going to have a porta potty there to look at and one of our garbage cans, and we can answer any questions you guys have.
And quickly tell everybody the easiest way to get the services of Western Waste. How do they go about it?
Just give us a call, 208-734-6969.
Joe, I appreciate you, good buddy, and come back and talk to us again in the near future. Thank you so much.
We will, Zeb. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Good guy right there. Joe over at Western Waste, the sales manager, and they do an excellent job, believe me. Let me see if I got anything else here I need to mention. No, I think that's about it. We're waiting in just a minute or so after we have the hard break at the bottom of the hour. We are expecting a call from Idaho United States Senator Mike Crapo. And so we're going to turn it back over to Wheels right now, and we will be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you very much for tuning in, staying with us all morning. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell. And Wheels, let me ask you, is Senator Crapo on the line?
Yes, sir, he is.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a very critical juncture in our politics and in our nation at this time, where we have a broad division over our security and our well-being for the future, and there seems to be a real hatred in partisan politics that has to be mended if we're going to get anything done. Here's a man that's right on the firing line every day, representing us from Idaho as our U.S. Senator, Mike Crapo. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well, and good morning, Zeb, to you and all of your listeners.
Well, Mike, I got to tell you, it's good to have you on the program, but I'm not going to pull any punches. There's a lot of things that I'm worried about, as are my listeners, and we're going to open up some of the questions in just a minute for listeners to call and talk to you. But first and foremost, as our senator, where do you stand on the border security and the border wall that this administration wants to put up?
Oh, I think that it's critical. President Trump is correct to make this an issue. The security of our nation is at risk in a number of different ways, but one of them is the fact that we do not have adequate border security. So I'm completely supportive of the president's position.
Now, when you say you're completely supportive of it, Mike, I got to ask you, what about getting other liaisons with other senators and having a power play to get this thing done? It seems like nothing gets done in Washington, and that's what hurt the Republican Party during the midterms. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, you are right. We are having a terrifically difficult time in Washington winning some of these battles. For example, we lost the health care battle last Congress, and I'll acknowledge that. We lost it by one vote. And that being said, the fact is that under President Trump's leadership with his administration, and when we had both houses of Congress last year, we made more progress on more issues than I've seen done for strong conservative causes for probably several decades. I mean, we literally, in my opinion, saved the Supreme Court from its slide. We have not only saved it, but put in two good, strong Supreme Court justices. We have changed the circuit courts by putting in 30 new conservative federal judges in the circuit courts, and the same kind of thing is going on in the district courts. We did get monumental tax relief passed, and the list goes on. There's a long, long list of good things that were done. So I want to push back a little bit on the notion that we're not getting things done. But I will tell you, I admit the fact that we didn't get some good things done. And we are facing phenomenal pushback here. Now that the election has put Nancy Pelosi in power in the House of Representatives, it's just getting harder.
Mike, is this, and let's be honest and blunt about this, honestly, when you listen to Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and the rest of them, this isn't partisan politics. This is nothing more than a hatred, a pure, unadulterated hatred for Donald Trump, and they don't want him to have any of the pieces on the chessboard. They want him to lose and go out big in 2020. Am I wrong?
Oh, you've made a very good point. There is a tremendous amount of just anti-Donald Trump politics playing. It doesn't matter what the policies are. It doesn't matter what even previous positions are. The Senate and House Democrats supported the funding for the wall that President Trump is asking for in votes just last Congress. And now that they've got the control in the House to jam things, they are changing their positions. And the reason they're changing their position, in my opinion, has very little to do with policy, because they've already indicated multiple times where they are on policy. What it has to do with is that they will not stand for anything that Donald Trump is seeking to do, no matter whether it's something they agreed with before or not. And I agree with you on that.
Mike, let me ask you this. When he decided to go ahead and sign the bill to put the federal workers back to work and end the shutdown, your gut reaction, was it capitulation? Did he lose the battle, hopefully maybe to win the war later on? What's the status right now?
Well, it was clearly a major concession on the president's part. And by the way, he made several other major concessions, namely to say that he's not saying there has to be a wall over every single inch of the border, but that we will follow the advice of the experts at the border as to where the wall needs to be and where other security techniques need to be used. And I think that those were both important and wise concessions on his part, because the battle while the government shutdown was going on was sliding in favor of a strong public perception that the president was absolutely rigid and unwilling to negotiate, when in reality it was Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer who were rigid and unwilling to negotiate. And I think the president has shown the country now that he is willing to be reasonable and that he does have strong policy behind his positions. And frankly, I think that his steps in doing so, though they were initially some conciliatory steps, have strongly focused the issue now of border security right squarely where it should be, and that is on the backs of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. And I think that's going to benefit him significantly as we move forward.
You know, moving forward is one thing, but then having a recurrent problem every day, 24/7, 365, of illegal aliens coming across our border and then at our expense housing them in this country, the danger of the drug traffic, etc. Something has got to be done. Why won't the Democrats, and I don't understand this, why won't they listen to the people that are on the border, the Border Patrol, the federal officials, the ranchers and the farmers down there, that their property is being absolutely desecrated? Why won't they listen? What is this power play the Democrats are trying to win?
Well, I think there's two parts to that question. And first of all, you're right. That is a very serious issue, and you've nailed it in terms of why. I think that in general, there's two pieces of it. One goes back to what you just raised a minute ago, and that is it is an unjustified and frankly irrational rejection of anything that President Trump seeks to do because of their larger goal in their mind of getting rid of President Trump. Secondly, though, there has been a significant shift in the politics of the left in the United States. And a big part of that is that in the last election, just last November, a very significant number in the House of Representatives, a significant number of people were elected who come from the perspective that we should have completely open borders. And those people now are influencing Nancy Pelosi and influencing their party in ways that force the party to slide further to the left. And I think it's both of those dynamics, the anti-Donald Trump dynamic, and there is a very noticeable and real slide toward open border politics in the Democratic Party.
Let me ask you about that, Senator, because you've been a senator for a long time. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Honestly, Mike, we've known each other for a long time. Did you ever anticipate that in this year, 2019, we would be talking about open socialism replacing capitalism in this country, and some of the things that they're proposing about taxing the rich and giving to the poor and aborting babies that are full-term babies? I mean, we really are a sick society right now that needs to be cleaned up.
Well, your question is interesting because in one sense, yes, I did realize, and I have worried for years that we were going to see this kind of much more open discussion of an effort to try to socialize our economy. And it gets right back to, Obamacare, the Obamacare debate. Many of us said then, this is just setting the stage for what they really want to do, which is to have a complete takeover of the healthcare industry by the federal government. But at the same time, I also never thought that it would gain such a phenomenally strong foothold in what's moving toward more mainstream politics, at least in the Democratic Party. I don't think it's gaining any foothold or any strength in the Republican Party, and I frankly don't think that it's getting a lot of support or strength among independents. But at least we're seeing one party move pretty aggressively that direction.
Mike, let me ask you another question about that in a moment. We have a caller with a question, and caller, I'm going to ask you to keep your remarks very short. Please, go ahead.
Well, Mike, it seems like the fact that President Trump has been so successful, black and Hispanic unemployment is lower as it's ever been. Unemployment is as low as it's been in however many years. He's gotten rid of ISIS, the trade agreements, the economy, Korea seems to be on hold, the Supreme Court justices, all the things he's accomplished, and it helps everybody, not just the Republicans, not the conservatives, and he gets no credit for it. I see no support coming from the mouths of Republicans. Mitch McConnell doesn't seem to support him very well. Ryan was a joke. I wish I heard more from you and Rish about how good President Trump has done. It would be nice to hear that. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Congressman or Senator. Pardon me. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'll leave out the members of Congress for a minute and get to that. But with regard to all of the things that this caller mentioned that have been good, I said earlier, there's a long list of good successes that have been achieved under this administration already. Frankly, for one thing, I'm frustrated too, but with the exception of a very few news outlets in our national news media, you don't hear anything about this. In fact, you hear just the opposite. And all they can do is nitpick and attack because they are openly anti-President Trump, in my opinion. And they don't even try to hide it anymore. So that's a frustration that I share with the caller. With regard to Republicans in Congress and whether they support President Trump, I guess I disagree a little bit in this sense. You'll find Republicans here and there criticizing President Trump, and when they do, by the way, it is just blasted all over the country. But, I told you we lost the health care vote. Yeah, we did, but we lost it by one vote. The vast majority of Republicans held firm. And with regard to talking about and trying to project and discuss all of these successes, we are doing that. We are saying it all the time, not just me and Jim Risch, but strong Republicans. And I've heard Mitch McConnell himself say a dozen times that he's seen more success under this administration for conservative efforts than he has in his entire service in Congress. And he's talking about that. But you don't hear it because it does not get rebroadcast. And so I'll just tell you, we are continuing to talk about this. I will, and I know Jim Risch will. But the fact is that what's reported out there, with very few exceptions in the media, is basically just a continuation of the spin against President Trump. And it's extremely frustrating to me.
Senator, let me just say this, and I don't mean to beat this issue to death, but I'm very concerned because Article 4, Section 4 in our Constitution basically says that we're going to have the government protect us against invasion. Well, here we have 12,000 more caravanners headed for our border, and they're being aided and assisted by the Mexican government to bust them up so they can try to crash through our security system at our borders and come into the United States. I do not understand how the Democrats can overlook this and try to pass it off as normalcy for our laws and our Constitution.
Well, I don't understand it either, Zeb, and I can't give it any better explanation than I already have, except to just tell you there is a growing movement on the left in the United States to say they want open borders, to say that it's not an invasion, that it's what we ought to do. We ought to just literally open up the borders. No country in the world does that.
No.
And yet they're attacking our country and those of us who want to have a strong rule of law in America. And by the way, we always say this, but I'll say it again. We're very supportive of legal immigration. We believe in immigration. Strong immigration is healthy for our economy and for our country. But the fact that what we're talking about is what you described is illegal immigration. And that is something that is harmful. And, I can't tell you, I don't understand any more than you do why such an increasing number of people in the United States are moving toward literally an open border policy. I also believe, I've got to say this, that an open border policy, even though there is a significant move in that direction, I don't think that it's among a majority of Americans. I think a majority of Americans still believe in strong border enforcement, and I think they're going to back President Trump in this battle.
I hope so. I've got time for one more quick call from a caller, and caller, I'm going to ask you to keep it brief. Thank you. Go ahead. You're on the air. Quickly.
I was wondering what the senator was doing, anything at all about the censorship that's going on the Internet.
Mike, respond, please.
Well, we're fighting it in a number of different ways. As you know, as a conservative, I don't believe in the government controlling what's said on the Internet any more than I believe anybody else. But what we are doing is trying to back off the government control of the Internet. President Obama took some steps to move the government into a much more regulatory, powerful position with regard to the Internet. We are actually, again, through President Trump's appointees, we are actually moving that needle back to where it's more of an open system in terms of non-governmental participation on the Internet. That being said, we're seeing some very powerful non-governmental institutions, and I won't give all the names right now, but those who have phenomenal market power over the Internet, who are themselves using their ability to censor what people say on their websites or on those parts of the Internet that they manage, and they're starting to extend that. So we are looking at that very, very closely. It's one of the things that I'm looking at in the Banking and Housing and Urban Development Committee that I chair, is the efforts through financial institutions to not only restrict what people say and do on the Internet, but to collect data about them against their wills and then use that data to try to manipulate people. So there's a lot of things that are going on. We are aggressively looking into it, and I'm hopeful that we'll have legislation this Congress that will help us to protect further against this, frankly, I think, intrusive management that's going on.
Mike, I've only got 2 minutes left. Please, one short question. I personally couldn't give a hoot and a holler about Russian collusion. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist, never has, never will. But I am very concerned about China and the increasing threat, economically and possibly security-wise, from China to the United States. What are your thoughts as a senator from Idaho?
Well, first of all, you're absolutely right to have those worries about China. I have those worries about China and Russia and a number of other countries. But China is at the head of the list in terms of the concerns that we ought to have. whether it is efforts to try to steal our economic and other secrets, to steal our security technology, whether it is to try to violate trade agreements in ways that force scientists and technology companies and others to reveal their technology to China so that China can just basically take it. You know, there's been a lot in the news about how China tried to literally steal Micron Technology's patents and then sue Micron Technology for using its own patents. I mean, they are engaged in whether it is illegal military activity, illegal internet activity, illegal activities to interfere with our security in many different ways. And I believe that we need a strong pushback on every front. And by the way, I believe that this administration is completely aware of that and is very engaged in pushing back.
It has been a real treat for myself and the audience to have you on our program, United States Senator Mike Crapo. Mike, you're always welcome. Thank you very much for your time here this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. Good to visit with you.
God bless you, sir. Thank you very much. United States Senator from Idaho, Mike Crapo, and we're very blessed to have him on our program and answer some questions and get his feelings about the Trump administration and border security primarily in this little visit we had this morning. I'm late. I've got to get the weather forecast on really quick. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Don Scarrow and the crew. And Don's over at Agra Action this weekend. As a matter of fact, he's going to be cooking up delicious brats and sausages and everything. It's going to be phenomenal. You can check out all the great meats on their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Don't forget Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sunshine for the next couple of days, but be prepared for precipitation as we hit the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 39, slightly breezy winds out of the east, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 44. Clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday night, bringing along with it a chance of rain and or snow showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 32. By Saturday, rain showers are likely, about a 70% chance. We are expecting a high of 47. Winds out of the south-southeast right around 10 miles an hour. For Sunday, more rain and snow is in the forecast. Mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 44. And by Monday, rain and snow showers expected for the morning hours. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 39. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, great job. Thank you very much. And again, brought to you by Scarro's Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I want to give a great big shout out to our major sponsor. I absolutely thank them for all they do on this program, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And right now, this time of the year, with the slush, the mush, the ice, the yuck, and the snow and everything out there, they've got the tires to get you through anything. Whatever the road throws at you, you be sure and check out all the tires, all the different tread designs, the traction tires, etc., at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got them all. For your car, pickup, and SUV. Stop in and check it out today. Now, along with that, be sure and check out the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. And they've got 7 locations of people that really care and provide you the best of service. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I have a little personal note that I want to share with you before we leave this morning, and we are going to be away from this desk for about maybe the next 2 or so weeks. And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, my lovely bride has had some health problems, and we want to just make sure we take a little R&R. We may be gone a day or two from the area, but we're going to be basically around here, and but not taking phone calls and not on the air. We're just going to take a little necessary rest and recuperation. And Gina and Sharon are going to fill the bill for the next couple of weeks on the programs, and we certainly thank them for all their help. And I thank you, the audience, for being understanding. So until we talk to you again, don't forget, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Zeb Bell, have a good one. God bless you and your family. Wheels, if you would, please.